Philosophers are true masters of argumentation, adept at applying their debating skills to a wide range of topics, from the deeply profound to the everyday trivial. Debates have a distinctive rhythm, flowing seamlessly between arguments, much like a tango between you and your opponent. For centuries, philosophers have crafted various strategies to effectively navigate and win debates. Step 1. Don't enter the battlefield unprepared. Debates follow a straightforward structure, typically involving a series of arguments and counter-arguments exchanged between participants. Before engaging in a debate, it's crucial to prepare not only your own points, but also to anticipate your opponent's arguments. Alongside gathering the necessary evidence to support your stance, take the time to critique your own argument. By identifying its weaknesses, you can strategize on how to address them effectively. Similarly, a philosophical essay is organized by presenting an argument, followed by a counter-argument, and then reinforcing the initial position. This approach equips you to handle critiques of your viewpoint and defend it convincingly. Choose counter-arguments that genuinely challenge your perspective rather than those that are easy to dismiss. This will enable you to refine and deepen your initial argument. Step 2. Form your arguments wisely. Every argument is composed of a set of premises and a conclusion. The conclusion represents the aim of your argument, essentially what you seek to demonstrate. The premises are the statements that provide support for that conclusion. For instance, if you were arguing about the necessity of physical exercise for anxiety, you could use the following premises. Physical exercise reduces levels of the stress hormone cortisol, and lower cortisol levels lead to decreased anxiety and improved relaxation. Your conclusion would be, physical exercise reduces anxiety. Arguments are constructed systematically, much like mathematical equations. Each set of premises, 1 plus 2, leads to a conclusion. Even if you have a clear idea of how you'll support your points, take the time to clearly identify each premise and the conclusion. Ask yourself, what am I trying to demonstrate? What evidence am I using to support it? And most importantly, do my premises logically lead to the conclusion? Addressing these questions will help you remain focused and organized during a debate. Step 3. Find a common ground. To win a debate, you must persuade your opponent to accept your conclusion. This starts by finding common ground, something both you and your opponent agree on. This common ground should include one of your premises. The more premises your opponent accepts, the more likely they are to agree with your conclusion. Choose premises that align with your opponent's beliefs or shared values. The common ground doesn't always need to directly relate to your conclusion. An indirect connection can make it easier for your opponent to agree. At times, you may need to reframe your premises to make them more agreeable or acceptable. Let's take a controversial topic like climate change and see how we can navigate it in a debate context. I'll play the devil's advocate and start with a general premise. 1. The well-being of future generations is important. If you accept that premise, I can follow with 2. Actions that protect the well-being of future generations should be prioritized. And, if you agree, I can proceed with my final premise. 3. Addressing climate change is essential for ensuring the well-being of future generations. If you accept that, the conclusion I can lead you to is, therefore, we should take immediate and significant action to combat climate change. Whichever premises you accept, compel you to accept whatever conclusion follows from them. The starting premises of your argument should act like a Trojan horse, ensuring their acceptance by your debate partner. Of course, you should also beware of the Trojan horses your opponent will send your way. Step 4. Identify the weak points. There are different strategies to invalidate arguments. Learning how to identify logical fallacies in an argument will not only help you undermine your opponent's position, but also protect your own by avoiding them. One of the most common fallacies in debates is ad hominem, which occurs when your opponent attacks you personally instead of addressing your argument. For example, if you are arguing against fast food consumption due to its health risks, your opponent might try to undermine your point by saying, "But you eat fast food sometimes." While this argument may resonate emotionally, it is a logical fallacy because your eating habits are irrelevant to your position and the debate's topic. Other common fallacies include appeals to emotion and authority. Your opponent might attempt to evoke feelings like fear or nostalgia in their argument or reference prominent figures, such as a celebrity chef, to bolster their claim. These sentimental appeals lack logical merit in a debate context. Now let's explore certain argumentative patterns that are logically invalid. Many arguments fall into the trap of circular reasoning, where the premise assumes the conclusion is true. For example, the premise, "Many scriptural verses say that God exists," leads to the conclusion, "God exists." This argument is invalid because it requires accepting the conclusion as a given. Another logical fallacy is ad hoc ergo propter hoc, after this, therefore, because of this, which mistakenly assumes a causative relationship from a correlation. For instance, saying, "Whenever I help others, I feel happy. Therefore, helping others causes happiness," confuses correlation with causation. By learning to identify these and other logical fallacies, you can pinpoint the weaknesses in your opponent's arguments. However, it's crucial to maintain respect and enjoyment throughout the debate for both you and your debate partner.